Alrighty, let's get right into it. Hope you've had a good start to the week. I know kids getting ready to go back to school, maybe some sense of normalcy in everybody's life, but the weather always keeps us on our toes. So let's get right to it here. You know, I love that upper level look. So we're going to take this kind of day by day here. So as we move towards the middle and latter part of the week, you see this weak ridging that remains across the southeast. So what we've got here is that warmer air south of the jet stream, and you see that high that's in the Gulf. That's going to feed in that southerly wind and bring up our moisture levels as well, giving us 70s across much of the state. Friday's the story, though, is a strong trough, upper level trough, will be dipping through the Four Corners region. Out of it will eject a mid latitude cyclone, a frontal system that will track off to the east in the coming days. Now, Saturday, you see where this trough is focused, right? This big trough, bullseye, the coldest air, the core of that low, right over Minnesota. But that cooler air at the surface, at least, is going to bleed into the south. The coldest air aloft isn't going to quite make it here, but it's going to be enough for us to see a pretty significant cool down. This is Sunday. This is when I expect there to be the cool down here, as you see that trough. And now, again, by Sunday, we're out of the rain threat. Remember, I'm going to jump back here. Your rain and your storms are found out ahead of the trough. So there's your trough axis. Your thunderstorms develop here. Usually have your low pressure, and this will follow the jet stream. And the further away it gets from us, the less wind shear involved. You got your cold front, you got your warm front, and you get the idea. So we're looking at the main rain threat ending probably Saturday, and then we look at the colder air that'll move in here for early next week. And again, we kind of go to a light westerly flow. No more big ridge for the southeast, but we'll start to see one build across the northwestern United States. Okay, so the SPC's painted a 15% marginal, slight, however you want to call it, risk for Friday. Now, the way these outlooks work is it goes from 6, 7 o'clock on Friday morning until the following day, 24 hours, so Saturday morning. So this would take us through Friday night. What you can take away from this is, sure, there's a chance for strong thunderstorms, but in general, we're going to be looking at a weakening trend with this line as it moves through. It's very common that overnight we lose instability. It makes sense. The sun goes down. Sun sets here across the state of Alabama before 5 o'clock, I think, in most spots still. So we don't have a long period in the evening where we maintain instability, where we keep that energy available for these thunderstorms. With that in mind, we got to take a close look at it. So let's hop in here. This is Friday at noon. This is the Barron 3 kilometer. It's a high resolution model. And you can see the bulk of the rain right in here. And that really lines up well with what I just showed you there. You have your upper level trough here, your surface low somewhere over here, and the best wind shear. You've got your southerly winds, you've got winds aloft, and so this is going to be where our best bet of strong thunderstorms is, at least early in the day on Friday. Okay, so now let's push this forward. Let's go to Friday evening. About 5 o'clock, the bulk of the rainfall, again, from the shoals up near Florence, Muscle Shoals, down near Phil Campbell, Russellville, and then extending back towards Winona, Jackson, Mississippi, all the way down towards Natchez. So this would be the line that, if it's well established enough in Mississippi, might have enough momentum to bring some gusty winds into West Alabama. Again, by this point, the atmosphere over Alabama is not necessarily conducive to severe weather. With that in mind, if there's a strong enough line, if you have a organized line of thunderstorms that's already going, sometimes it can sustain itself for a little while. So this particular model is showing a pretty decent line here. Again, up here is much more stratiform, but it's a pretty good line showing up here. And with that, you'll have a little gust front. Gusty winds there, sometimes 35, 45 miles an hour, and if they're able to get to severe limits, it would be faster than that. Tornadoes should not be an issue with this. Again, a lot of wind energy here, but I don't see the sheer profile of the atmosphere favorable for any tornadoes. Honestly, it's not a high threat to begin with, but I think gusty winds would be the thing to watch here. As always, we'll stay aware. Okay, so now we're at midnight. Who has not been touched? If you live in southeast, southern, central Alabama, you don't have a drop of rain on Friday. You're just warm. breezy, winds out of the south. By midnight, this is crossed over I-65. Huntsville, you're probably about in the clear. Gadsden, probably getting the brunt of it. So this moves through central Alabama overnight. And it doesn't move into the Wiregrass until almost 12 hours later. So we're looking at a window to start in Alabama sometime after 5, and it does not clear the southernmost part of the state until after 8 o'clock. You can see there the trailing line of storms. And by this point, guys, if you live in the Wiregrass, that low is so far displaced. I mean, so there's no wind shear. There's just not the dynamic support needed. Sure, it's 70 degrees. Could you have some thunderstorms? Absolutely. But there's not even going to be the coldest air aloft with this, so your instability values are not going to be great, certainly at 8 o'clock in the morning. So again, some rain, but for folks who are hoping for more rain down to the south, you're probably going to get left out. So let's nerd out. Let's go to a parameter called the Energy Helicity Index. So energy, that equates to instability. So the more instability we have, the more instability that is available, the better your updrafts are. Think of it as fuel for a thunderstorm, okay? So thunderstorms need this to sustain themselves, to sustain updrafts. And if we don't have it, you have to have a strong enough wind profile where you have strong enough shear that can overcome the lack of instability, okay? So this is the likelihood of basically a thunderstorm to rotate, okay? And you're going to see that it's not very likely. All right, so this is at about, let's go back to 5 o'clock here. All right, I'm going to throw on the composite reflectivity, see how this overlaps. This is at 5 o'clock, and okay. So right about 5 o'clock, we still have some decent, at least this model is showing, some decent instability, or just enough, and we got a little bit of wind shear. So that holds up. Central Mississippi, northeastern Mississippi, and parts of extreme west Alabama early in the evening. And then as we progress forward, so look at that, I mean, by 9 o'clock here, we'll stop it. There's no instability at this point. And got a little bit of wind shear because you've got winds out of the west to northwest behind the front. You got winds out of the south ahead of it. So perhaps, some gusty winds can sustain themselves. But again, let's take a look at where the reflectivity is at this point in time. Again, right along it. So I don't want to rule out the possibility of some stronger thunderstorms, but there are certainly much better scenarios than this that can arise in our severe weather season. So that's the good news. More good news is the rain that this is likely going to bring us. Take a look at this. So this is a look at our 7-day totals, and this number has gone up. So the Weather Prediction Center, what they do is that they issue these QPF outlooks, and it's looking over a huge gridded area. We're not going to see the exact same amount of rain from Huntsville to Hamilton. It's not going to happen from Coleman to Hamilton or from Gadsden to Sylacauga. But it shows the average of rain over a given space. And those numbers have gone up. I think if you're along or north of I-20, there's going to be good soaking rain. I think it's a little bit more up in the air once you get south of I-20, certainly south of US 80, whether the system holds together. So, again, plenty to watch. This is going to be the storyline afterwards. So this is Sunday morning at about 6. It'll probably still be in the upper 30s, low 40s, but look at how Sunday unfolds. So this is at 2 o'clock, and this is the European model. Typically goes a little bit cooler, but we're going to have a northerly wind. It's going to be breezy. So not only is it going to be in the 40s, it's going to be windy, a bitter northerly wind. And that is that colder air advecting in, pushing in. And by Monday morning, out the door, as kids will be back to school, 25 up across the Tennessee Valley, 28 from Gadsden over to Hamilton. We got 28 in Birmingham, 31 in Tuscaloosa. So at least a light freeze, if not a harder freeze for extreme northern Alabama. And down in the Wiregrass will probably be around a freeze as well. Lived down there for a long time. If you get into any outlying areas, a lot of times those sensors, they'll drop a little bit more given the radiational cooling. But that's the point. I mean, it's going to be cool. Monday afternoon, winds lighten up a little bit, but highs will likely be in the 40s across central and northern Alabama, in the low 50s in points to the south. So what's next? This is a look at our temperature outlook. This goes through Friday, the 16th, and as you can see, very close to average. So the next couple weeks, no crazy ups and downs. We're not going back to the 70s. We're not going back to the teens. So we'll stay somewhere in between. Chilly nights and comfortable afternoons. That's probably about the size of it here over the next couple of weeks. Again, we'll keep an eye on that potential for strong thunderstorms, anything severe. Again, I'm not overly concerned with the threat, but as always, Alabama can throw us curveballs, so we'll keep a close eye on it here moving forward. Let's look at your forecast discussion. Y'all have a great evening.